Urban Equity Properties completes its latest renovation with the transformation of a former brass factory into high-end lofts near downtown Rockford.
Went past it this weekend. It looked very cool. And WIFR reporter Bria Walters talks to city leaders about what the lofts will mean for the south side of Rockford.
Seeing so much economic development that we need more residential units, and this is a big part of it.
Water Tower Lofts, the latest offering from Urban Equity Properties, graces the corner of Main and Mill Streets. It was once home to Rockford Brass Works.
They're all very challenging, lots of moving parts. When you're taking what was a contaminated factory and turning it into a residential dwelling.
The 5-story building features 60 luxury 1-bedroom apartments and 4 2-bedroom units. Residents can also access a gym and a lounge.
It was, again, a factory to residential conversion, so you have a much more harder loft apartment with more concrete, high ceilings, large windows. So super happy with the finished product.
Urban Equity focuses on revitalization, targeting cities that need to transform their downtown areas. Rockford features more than a dozen of the company's apartment buildings. Mayor Tom McNamara says this project is also an important step towards addressing the growing need for housing in the Forest City.
We are projecting that we need 3,000 to 9,000 new residential units in the city of Rockford over the next 10 years. Just in the last 12 to 18 months, we've approved more than 1,200 units. So this is completion of 64 of those units.
In Rockford, Bria Walters, WIFR News.
Urban Equity Properties use historic tax credits to fund the renovations.
Fern says the company is the biggest user of the River Edge state tax credit in the state of Illinois.